I can guarantee that you know some people that have the last name on this list, and it's actually illegal in a country. It might even be your name. Here are the top 4 names that are illegal around the world, and as you guys know, I'm doing this all in one part, so keep up. At number 4, I am starting with one that's really messed up. This couple tried naming their kid Adolf Hitler, but thankfully it wasn't allowed. The parents were later thrown in jail because it was found that they were part of a group similar to the KKK. I'd say it's a pretty good move taking that kid away. At number 3, in Japan, a couple tried naming their kid Devil. I am 100% serious. But eventually the government banned it, so they changed the name to Emperor. At number 2, in Sweden, a child was named this. But the parents said this was pronounced Albin. Okay. And at number 1, in Saudi Arabia, it's illegal to name your kid Linda, Elaine, or Alice because they said it's too westernized.
If you accidentally hit your face and your tooth falls in your mouth, here's what you need to know. A tooth actually has 2 parts, the crown and the root. You want to make sure you only grab the tooth by the crown, and you're going to wash it in some saline. If you don't have saline, you can use tap water too, that's okay. You want to gently take the tooth and put it back into the socket. That's the hole it came from. Then you want to go see your dentist as soon as you can. If for some reason you can't put it back into the socket, here's what you gotta do. Put it into a small bag full of milk and go see your dentist. Don't use water because this can actually kill the cells around the tooth. The quicker you can see your dentist, the better chance you have of saving your tooth.
4 of the most horrifying things we've ever found on beaches. Number 1, a sack containing 54 severed human hands. I don't really know, I don't have words to describe how horrifying this is, and I could not imagine just finding a bag on the beach and opening it up and be like, oh look, human hands, but this happened in Siberia. Number 2, famine victims. Basically a bunch of human bones washed up onto a beach, and they were actually from something called a coffin ship, which were a bunch of ships that kind of left Ireland during the potato famine where everyone was starving to death and dying, and we found some human bones on a beach. Number 3, a dead sperm whale filled with plastic. Now that might not sound horrifying, but if you think about it, there's so much plastic in the ocean that it took down the largest toothed predator currently on our planet. That is horrifying that it is that present in our ocean and that deadly. For the Montauk monster, people hypothesize that this deformed looking creature was everything from a chupacabra to the missing link, but basically it's just a really deformed raccoon. As horrifying as that looks, it's just literally a trash bin.
I made this cake for YouTube and the video blew up. It has over 14 million views. On the inside, I did this beautiful rainbow pattern. So when you cut it open, on every slice, you're gonna see that kind of rainbow filling. And then the outside, I iced it to this kind of orange yellow box. I don't know if you guys can tell what it is yet. I might have just given it away with the logo. But when you pipe down some buttercream on some saran wrap, then you transfer it over to the cake or cellophane wrap. It does this beautiful logo. You can transfer anything like that. It works so well. I then added all these kind of fondant details to the cake and added some more details and buttercream, and everything is starting to come together. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some ice cream cones and wrap them into fondant and stick those into the cake with some cake pop sticks. There it is, it's starting to all come together and I can't believe how well it turned out. See, rainbow slice in every single slice. I love it.
Ever wonder what happens if you put 1,000 amps through a coin? Well, there's one way to find out. Wow, that's hot.
I don't know how to use chopsticks, and when I went to Japan last year, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to eat.
So I built a pair of automatic chopsticks that close on your food for you.
I don't know how to use these normal, regular chopsticks. Actually, wait a second. The way they work is there's a little sensor on the bottom that uses the speed of light to measure where the sushi is. And when you block it and you're close enough to it, it automatically closes. This microprocessor triggers their servo motor to close the chopsticks. And all the plastic parts were printed on my 3D printer. I'm gonna use a lemon to demonstrate it because I don't have any sushi.
iPhone tricks most people don't know about part 4. Quickest way to delete photos is to select and tap anywhere on top. To hide photos completely is to save it in a note and set a lock. Then delete the photos in your camera roll. When you no longer need to hide them, just save the images again. Quickest way to rearrange multiple apps is to long press on one and tap on the others to group them together. Want to highlight something in a screenshot? Don't forget to use the built-in magnifier.
Show you guys something real cool, something I just found out. Watch this. See, every pilot or flight instructor will tell you this, that if you start here and you want to go here, to your destination. And if there's a crosswind, you will actually land lower. So what pilots do is they fly north of their destination to get to their destination. See, this metaphor applies for life and for people as well. If you treat a person for how they are, you make them worse. You treat a person for how they could be, you promote them to what they should be. If you live life being realistic, you wind up being pessimistic. But if you live life shooting for your dreams, trying to do the impossible, well, ladies and gentlemen, you will wind up exactly where you need to be.
Cat hierarchy is simple. Whoever is placed higher is in charge. So if your cat's house is above your bed, they think they're in charge of you. If your cat's ever looking at you and then slowly closes their eyes while still making eye contact, that's their way of giving you a kiss. And if you do it back, they might just do it again. Believe it or not, but cats actually evolved the meow to communicate with us humans, and they don't use it with other groups of cats. And if they emphasize the O in meow, that means that something's urgent, they want something from you. If they emphasize the E, it's more pleasant, kind of like a greeting.
Beauty companies are clever. One company sat down men and women and showed them hundreds of pictures of just a woman's face and asked them to rate it from 1 to 10 in attractiveness. What they didn't tell them was that they put the same face twice, but with one of them they manufactured the pupils to look bigger than they were. When they looked at all the data, by far, every woman that had the same exact picture and the same face with the bigger pupils was ranked higher and more attractive than the one with smaller pupils. This supported the theory that when somebody has bigger pupils, they're usually excited to see you, and everyone likes exciting somebody. This was figured out by prostitutes, believe it or not, hundreds of years ago. They found that they'd be tipped better and had a higher chance of being selected if they dropped something from a plant called belladonna, also known as deadly nightshade. This performed the same function of atropine, which is a neurotransmitter you have on muscarinic receptors in your body already that help dilate your eyes. So next time you see a beauty commercial or flipping through CoverGirl, take a look into their eyes and see what you find.
Weird things in the mouth, part 5. If the edges of some of your front teeth have these bumpy ridges on them, these are called mamelons. They're usually only there when teeth are just starting to come into the mouth. What should you do about them? Nothing. They're totally normal and they wear down over time. And if they don't, we can always even them out.
You want to make the best scrambled eggs? Come on, I'll show you. 2 eggs. Whisk. Heat pan over medium-low heat. Melt 1 tablespoon butter. Add your eggs. Slowly, just move with the rubber spatula. Big curds. Do not crank the heat, it's not gonna cook faster. Look at that, it comes together so quickly. Remove it from the heat. Perfect. Just when they're a tiny bit wet, they're still gonna carry over cook on the plate. Pinch of truffle salt because you're fancy. Freshly cracked black pepper. Parsley.
Weird medical facts. Bigorexia is a disorder in which a person becomes obsessed with the idea that they're not muscular enough. You can actually see your nose all the time, but your brain chooses to ignore it and filters out the information. Try closing one eye, you'll see your nose a lot more clearly. In your entire life, you'll walk the equivalent of twice around the world. Yawning is contagious, right? Psychopaths are immune to contagious yawning because they lack empathy.
Do you want a flat stomach and toned abs in just 10 days? The Japanese ab exercise I'm about to show you will do just that. First, grab a foam roller or a rolled up towel and place it under your navel. Lay back and then extend your legs all the way out, making sure that your feet are facing inwards. Next, extend your arms behind you, palms facing down, pinkies touching. Hold this position for 5 minutes, 10 days in a row, and you should start to see results.
The moment you've all been waiting for, the tie-dye reveal. I let them sit overnight and now it's time to rinse them under cold water. The rubber band got stuck on my glove. I'm just rinsing it until no more dye comes out. I can already tell they're going to look so good. I'm so excited. This top took a little bit more rinsing. I'm done wringing both of the tops out and I don't want to keep you waiting, so here's the final result. I'm honestly so proud of myself. I was not expecting them to look this good. And I love how they look completely different.
My name is Quilla Bohannon and I make free wigs for kids suffering from hair loss. When the kids first get to see their wig, it just melts my heart. Oh my gosh. It just makes them feel loved.
I learned something interesting today, so it's time for a random fact you probably just don't care about. You know Roman statues? The sculpted marble masterpieces? Well, originally, they were painted. And the paint didn't just wear away with time. Oh no. British historians in the Victorian era actually scrubbed the paint off. Because apparently, the bright colors didn't quite depict the dignified image that they wanted of these cultures they claimed to be heirs to. This process also got rid of any visible evidence that some of the statues depicted people of color. And the missing noses on a lot of Egyptian statues is a similar deal. British Victorian archaeologists had a bad habit of taking the nose off, sending them back and saying they found them that way. Because apparently, with the noses, it was a little obvious that some of the statues were depicting people of Black African descent. And that's on imperialist historic revisionism.
You've probably never eaten real wasabi. What you've been eating with your sushi is actually mostly horseradish. That's because real wasabi is incredibly expensive, and there are a few reasons why. First of all, it's a pretty needy plant. It only grows naturally in Japan next to mountain streams. It needs a constant supply of fresh spring water, rocky soil, and a temperature of 46 to 68 degrees. If by some miracle you do manage to grow it, then you'll need to harvest it all by hand because it's delicate, and this all adds to the cost. Another thing which not many people know is that real wasabi has a very limited shelf life. You turn it into a paste using a special grater that breaks down its cells, but once it's pasted, wasabi really only retains its flavour for around 30 minutes. So unless it's grated before your eyes, it's probably not real wasabi.
It is box braid tutorial time with one of my braiding caps so you can see what I'm doing. 3-strand braid is what you need to know first. Yellow goes in the middle, red goes in the middle, then orange, then yellow, then red. This is your 3-strand, nothing to it. But you also need to know how to do a Dutch braid. Dutch means you go under. Yellow goes under, red goes under into the middle, then orange, then yellow. It's the same thing, 3-strand, but everything goes under. To do a box braid is you combine the two and then you do it simultaneously, which means yellow gets split in half, bam. It goes above and under orange, and then red gets split in half, bam. It goes above and under yellow. Orange gets split in half, bam. It goes above and under orange, yellow, red. It goes under and above red. Then yellow gets split in half, bam. So you do this over and over until you run out of hair, and then you get this gorgeous, gorgeous 3D box.
Today I'm going to show you how I propagate a pineapple, one of my favorite things to propagate. Things you'll need: pineapple, cutting utensil and cutting board, and a container with some water. To begin, I cut off the head of the pineapple where it meets the skin. Then I can leave the fruit protected till I cut it open later. Next, I remove the bottom leaves of the top. I'm looking for the little nodes as I peel, and I continue peeling until I have around an inch of those nodes exposed. Finally, I put the freshly trimmed pineapple in some water, rainwater if I have it, and I compost my trimmings. Now all I need is time and patience. As I reflect on the numerous times I have propagated pineapple, I'm reminded of the joy I find in watching things grow. Like any gardener who has watched their young seeds turn into mature and beautiful plants, I'm reminded of the countless hours spent nurturing, watching, and learning how to be a better gardener. This propagation is helping me learn on my journey.
So I had this guy just message me and said, I see in one of your videos you say you give your wife everything. Do you give her all your money too? Ha ha ha. Well, yes, I do, Kevin. I'll break it down for you. First of all, when you give a real woman anything, she's going to multiply and increase everything that you have given her. Example, you give her a kid, she's going to give you a family. You give her a house, she'll give you a home. You give her groceries, she's going to give you a meal. You give her a smile, she's going to give you all her love. But just remember, you give her any type of crap, just be ready to receive a bunch of shit, because it goes both ways. And it's not a happy wife, happy life. It's happy spouse, happy house. So yes, I do give my wife my money and everything else, because when we married, we became one. Stay blessed, my friends.
In this video, I'm going to show you 4 easy ways to look classy. First, try avoiding print and go for solids instead.
Next, choose softer colors that are more appealing to the eye. Then go for timeless pieces like this blazer over seasonal ones. Lastly, always go for a simple medium square shaped bag and you're good to go.
Teenage boy with Down syndrome asked his girlfriend, who also has Down syndrome, to homecoming. And of course, she said, "Yeah!" This is probably one of the sweetest things you'll ever see.
Want to get Charli D'Amelio's signature look? Start off with a hair oil and put it through the ends of your hair for a sleek finish. Then you're going to want to make a really straight center part just like this. Then take 2 slivers of hair and get them out of the way. Start gathering the hair into a low ponytail. You want to make sure that you leave a little bit of the hair though on top of the ear. Then secure the ponytail and start to make a low bun. Release the 2 front pieces, flat iron for a more sleek finish, and there you have it.
So you want to be cool and trendy and wear your jacket over your shoulders, but every time you do, this happens, and this happens. What's a girl to do? I'm going to fill you in on a little jacket hack. Grab a couple safety pins and attach your top to the inner lining of your jacket. Once it's secure and in place, you won't have to worry about your jackets failing you ever again.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm prepared. I've got my drink, I've got my phone, and I have my trust in my husband. This is actually quite small. Bye.
See you soon.
So my husband locked me in a shed in order to test a theory. Can we make a DIY resin key that actually works? We squished it into the silicone mold making putty like we were spies, and then made some hopefully extra strong resin that had fiberglass mixed in.
The problem was that we clamped the metal key in so tight that the resin ended up coming out at about half the thickness.
If it snaps and the resin gets stuck in the key, and then we can no longer open it, and that's when he's gonna have to cut me out of here. Okay.
Oh, it's in.
Will it turn?
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, it turned.
It did it.
It did it.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. That worked so great. It worked perfectly.